Vishnupada Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charini Nirvisesha Shamadi Paschatya Shatari Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Guru Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauramaktinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today Prabhuji is traveling. I will not have Prabhuji's class. Today we are having only Prabhupada reading session. So if somebody had waiting for Prabhuji, they can join Prabhuji on Wednesday. So this is they have. So here we'll continue our discussion. So this is very important, meeting a devotee. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela also, there is very important pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going to Gaya. So there he meets Ishwarapuri. So why this is important? Because Lord goes for performing Shraddha ceremony. Even though it is considered a Rajasic ritual, but he goes. Most important is he is meeting a devotee. So no matter what we do in life, the important thing that should happen in our life is meeting a devotee. Lord is doing this ritual of Varnashrama and Shraddha ceremony is a part of Varnashrama, which is a very pious materialistic life. It's not spiritual. Varnashrama is not spiritual. It is materialistic life only, very good pious materialistic life, which is meant to purify the heart of a living entity. But that is conducive for bhakti. A pure heart is favorable. But ultimately, bhakti starts when we meet a devotee only, not before that. So here, Vidra is meeting Uddhava and then Maitreya. And Vidra himself is Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantastena Gatavata. Yudhishthira says that you are the personification of, you purify the holy places. But Vidra is meeting Uddhava and Maitreya. So for them, they meet a personality who is much more purified than them. So here we'll see the conversation of such great personalities is what is going to purify our heart. Means what happens is, what is the first criteria for spirituality is humility. What happens is, if a person is humble, he becomes very receptive. That is the important understanding. To practice, to understand any subject matter, we need to be humble first. Then, and accept that other person is superior to me and he has more knowledge. Immediately that will make us very receptive. And so much transcendental knowledge can come into our heart. That is the first criteria. Generally, this world, now at least in Kali Yuga, people are very proud. And they are taught to be proud from childhood on, which is very, very detrimental for their spiritual progress. But if somebody is taught respect and humility, gratitude, these are the things that are taught in Vedic culture. And it was there in Western culture also, everywhere it was there. But slowly, because of this industrialism, and then there was, then the purpose of life is lost. Once with the growth of materialism, as the purpose of life is lost, then people did not consider it as much any value to be humble, grateful, and respectful. Is not of any profit, because it does not make you go materially. If you want to grow a material civilization, then the growth is through pride and to arrogance, and then the competition, then there is envy. This makes a person grow materially because I have to be ambitious. That means I should envy the other person, and then it will motivate me to become like him or greater than him. This is what is taught. You should have your self pride. You should have your own motivations and this that. So the mistake you can understand once the purpose of life is lost, once the purpose of life is materialism, then immediately the value system that changes. Previously, the value system was because they want to gain higher knowledge. So the value system was to be grateful, to be respectful, to be humble. Now, because the purpose of life is changed, the purpose of life is materialism, then immediately the value system also changed. Now they say you should you should be ambitious, and we should be proud of yourself. But that is the greatest mistake a person is doing, because that will make him away from spiritual knowledge. If a person, they say, but be proud of yourself. But I was telling the famous Telugu Bhagavad Gita speaker is there, he's very famous. He got national award also. When he was speaking, he told, I did this, I did this, I recited so much Bhagavad Gita, this, that. And he says, I'm proud to say that I am the only person who did. I said, so then what? You didn't understand only Bhagavad Gita means. Because you are proud means you are not having spiritual knowledge. That is the criteria. If a proud person cannot, his heart, for a spiritual knowledge, heart should be soft. They are leading a pious materialistic life only. Spirituality is something completely different. They may know all the rituals, they may know all shlokas, they may know so much Mahabharata Ramayana. They also know nice intricate logic, and they may also present it in a very, very beautiful way, and they also are nicely able to show the connections and everything they can do. But what they cannot do is they cannot gain spiritual knowledge. So this is how subtle it is. It looks, array, how much Pandit he is. No, my mother also is impressed sometimes. She say, oh, because in our family we have some people who have read Vedas. And they say, oh, he learned four Vedas. And my father's elder brother, he is also like that. He also knows so much Vedas. So she is so much impressed. I said, array, that is not spirituality. No, they are so much Pandits. And some people, they are very good in Rama and Mahabharata and even Bhagavad also. They speak such nice Bhagavad. There is some famous Kathakars in Telugu who are from Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya who gives nice classes on Rama and Mahabharata and their analogies. And I have seen some ISKCON devotees hearing their classes. I am not telling it is wrong, but I am telling their, and I hear them, their conclusion is liberation. Their conclusion is not pure devotion. Even though the presentation is so very nice and very nice analogies, and they are so expert in presenting how this material world is a place of suffering. They are very expert at it. But they cannot teach pure devotional principles. That is a problem. The most famous people also, they explain everything nicely. They can explain the uh, they explain so like Divya Prabandhas or even Mukundamala Stotra. They're so nice in explaining them. But the conclusions are not all, everything is nice except for the conclusion. They cannot tell pure devotional principles. Maybe it was there, actually, it was there Ramanujacharya time, but slowly it got diluted. So, my point is what? My point is that people are not understanding. They don't know. They are very good in many things. So now what happens is, when we come and tell pure devotional principles, they say, "Arey, you bacha, what you know? He's such a big pandit. He knows all Vedas. He is speaking and you are speaking." Even though we know little, what we know is correct. That is what is important for us. Whatever we know, even though it is very little, very, very little, but it is right knowledge. We are going in a right direction. To go to Vaikunta, according to Uchadan Charitamrita, it's not a big deal. To get darshan of Lord, not a big deal. What is very important, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give is the pure devotional love. That is actually very rare, which we want to achieve. And this is what is the uh, criteria that we need to understand. Anyway, so the point here is the modern society is full of pride. They cannot understand. Some people are who are very sincere, who are not very proud because of their cultural background. It helps them to accept spirituality. But now it is becoming lesser and lesser and lesser. People are very unhappy also, but they don't know why they are unhappy. They are unhappy because they are proud. Very simple reason. If they become little humble and by fortune they get association of devotee, life changes for them. And here we see that uh, here about the creation. Why these all things we need to know? Because we will understand how much we are in a very, very complicated situation we are caught up. We have messed up everything. So this creation, if you see the translations only, how complicated it is. Thereafter, the Mahatattva differentiated itself into many different forms as the reservoir of future entities. The Mahatattva is chiefly in mode of ignorance, and it generates the false ego. It is a plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead with full consciousness of creative principle and time for fructification, because it is the energy of Lord in that way. Now we see the Mahatattva as or the great causal truth transforms into false ego, which is manifested into three phases: cause, effect, and doer. All such activities are on the mental plane and are based on the material elements, gross senses, and mental speculation. So all these activities are in the cause, effect, and doer. So three things are there that are manifested in three phases. So that the false ego, it is the Mahatattva, the causal truth transforms into false ego, and which is the cause of this creation in one, which is manifested in three phases. Cause is Mahatattva, effect is also Mahatattva, and doer is also Mahatattva, but it transforms into different elements to make this happen. And what is the main source is the desire of living entity. All these things are done so that the living entity can fulfill its desire. So Mahatattva is a cause, Mahatattva is effect, Mahatattva is a doer in one way because it transforms. And but whose desire is fulfilled? Living entities. All such activities are on the mental plane and are based on the material elements, gross senses, and mental speculation. So material elements, gross senses, and mental. The false ego is represented in three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So here we have read this purport also. The pure living entity in his original spiritual existence, full of conscious of his constitutional position as eternal servant of Lord. And this is they are the Nitya Muktas. And then the material creation meant for rebellious souls. So this is the point. The material creation is meant for the rebellious souls who are not prepared to accept subordination under the Supreme Lord. This spirit of false lordship is called false ego. That means this is the cause of everything. So here it's transformed into falsehood. This false ego is the spirit of false the spirit of false lordship is called false ego. So the living entity has this spirit to lord over. It is actually transformed into, it is actually the false ego. It is manifested in three modes of material nature, and it exists in in mental speculation only. That means it is in one way a great, even though it is real, but it is illusion. It's mental. Those who are in mode of goodness think that each and every person is God, and thus they laugh at pure devotees who try to engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord. This is a problem with people in mode of goodness. That is like all these impersonalists and all. They live a very pure life, very sattvic life, but they say no need. You are just yourself Lord. Those who are puffed up with passion try to lord it over material nature in various ways. Some of them engage in altruistic activities as if they are agents appointed to do good to others by their mental speculative plans. This even the altruistic activities Prabhupada is counting them in mode of passion, not even goodness or to any social. What happened in Kali Yuga presently, they are connecting uh, religion into nationalism. They have converted the religion into nationalism. That is another big problem, Kali Yuga. Spirituality into nationalism. That is also another problem. You are a Hindu, so you are an Indian, you are a Hindu. This is no connection only. Spirituality is connected to soul, which is beyond the boundaries of nationality and all these criteria, which is very, very important to understand. We should not connect. Politicians, they take advantage of it. They use people's religious sentiments for nationalism. They say, I am doing all religious activities for you. That means I am the person for governing your country. But there is no connection only with spirituality and these political leaders. They can do whatever they want. And many of them, because they are corrupt, they end up in some place which we don't know. The point is, there is no connection only. Connection is the Prabhupada went to America and he's preaching there and he's going all over the world. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, don't bother about Britishers. Because there is no connection only. That is all materialistic. This is something spiritual. And what to speak of these altruistic activities? They are mundane only. Anything related presently, so called dharma. Our dharma is only one dharma. Savai pumsam paro dharma. We talk about paro dharma. We don't talk about all this mundane dharmas. It won't work like that. Such men accept the standard way of mundane altruism, but their plans are made on the basis of false ego only. The false ego extends to the limit of becoming one with the Lord. The last class of egoistic condition shows those in mode of ignorance are misguided by identification of gross body with the self. Thus, all their activities are centered around the body only. All these persons are given the chance to play with false egoistic ideas, but at the same time, Lord is kind enough to give them a chance to take help from scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, so that they may understand the science of Krishna and thus make their life successful. Now, interestingly, Prabhupada is not telling more on. Prabhupada explained how false ego is catching, but Prabhupada is more practical. He said, okay, now you are caught. This is the way. Take advantage of this science. The entire material creation, therefore, is meant for the falsely egoistic living entities hovering on the mental plane under the different illusions in modes of material nature. So, this is actually what is happening. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Bharata Bhumite Manusya Janma Heliyar, Janma Sartha Kara Paropakar means because you are born in India, you have more advantages of delivering yourselves and delivering others. It is not about nationalism. It is the geographical location where we are born, because it is having an advantage of many saints and saintly persons who are born in this year. We have in this place, and there are many holy places, holy rivers, holy scriptures, and such wonderful association. We should take advantage and deliver everyone, first delivering ourselves. And this is what is the advantage. Say if somebody is sitting in a library, so we tell Murray, you have such nice access. Why don't you study and increase your knowledge? Somebody who is just in a bus stand, he will not have that advantage. Somebody who's in a library has an advantage of reading the books nicely. He's in a bus stand, he has to see some vendors, shops, and something. He cannot much read there, concentrate. But somebody sitting in a library, he's he can concentrate, he can study. It's a geographical location. It does not mean that So similarly, born in India is a geographically very advantaged position, but nothing to do with any nationalism. It is not. It is not to increase your nationalism. It is just mm, if they are fortunate because living entities are same only. You are an American, you are a European, you are a Pakistan. Before partition, there was only one country: Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, all are one only. And before Britishers came, India was many countries. After Britishers came, they made one country. Of course, they made three. After then they came and they are living, they made it into two countries. After that, it became three. So now this geographical dimensions they are changing only all the time. So how does it make any difference? So in future, it can become many parts also. We cannot know because if you take Shivaji time, India was not one country. It has many kingdoms, many provinces. Even Maurya dynasty, Gupta dynasty, you take or any other time. India was not one country. It was many. And so, how does it make a difference? It does not make much difference in a political level. Main thing is spirituality. We may say, Prabhuji, if you don't encourage people are Hindutva, but in the name of Hindutva, people are going to hell. So we should be very clear. We may say so many, art of living and Brahma Kumaris or Osho and all these things. And Isha, these people, they are seriously following these organizations. They will 100% go to hell. There is no doubt about it. They are really so bogus. They offend Krishna so much. And uh, how does at least art of living people don't offend, but others they offend. Brahma Kumaris or Osho or Isha, they all offend Krishna. What will happen to them? They'll go to hell, according to Chaitanya Charitamrita. No, they are so big Hindu organizations. No? If there is a pious Muslim fellow, he or a pious Christian who is living a very sattvic life and who is doing whatever he is told to do and is very living very sattvic life, he will definitely get elevated. But this person who is so-called Hindu, he will go to definitely hell. So what is the point? In villages in South India, there are no cows. Many villages don't have cows only. So what is the Hindu villages, not Muslim village or Christian? Hindu villages don't have cows. That means what type of Hindu they are following. So it's all, it does, now presently there is nothing like. So now we may say it is favorable because these people support and yes, we agree. The people who are Hindu organizations, they will, if we go to, like, I will tell, our devotees went to distribute books at some this statue of equality, Ramanujacharya statue there. Then their Chinnajir Swami said, no, you cannot distribute Bhagavad Gita here. Now who is opposing? Chinnajir Swami is opposing. So I don't want us to distribute Bhagavad Gita. The point is what? It's not Christians oppose. Everybody opposes. so, so the point is everybody opposes when you speak truth. They give some goody spirituality and they are happy with it. And we don't give that. We want to give real truth. And people are upset that they are really speaking truth. This is the point. So We are people are so much concerned. Oh, Hinduism and all these things. And you see any of don't see it will waste your time. You there will be some Hindu Maha Sabha Sammelan, any all the akhadas, big mahants will come. Nobody is interested in anything. Everybody thinks they are better. So what is the point? And they try to oppose each other. They are fighting among themselves. So it's even if whole country becomes Hindus, na, they will not keep cows. There are no cows in villages. They are Hindu villages. They have temples, but no cows. Why? They want lot to make their things done. Even satsang happens. Like yesterday, my friend came. He is preaching in villages. He said, satsang happens. He goes and advertise so many hours in the village. He says, if you sit for so long, half an hour, max 20 people will attend. What they are doing villages, they are sitting in front of the house and doing some prajalpa. And every month, TTD conducts in a district some one village some program, and they have 3 day program. 3 day katha and fourth day they have go puja, and in this Andhra and some villages, and they want to do go puja. There are no cows in villages. We cannot change now much. We cannot change the situation of the country. There is no people are living so materialistic life. Where is the question of any good that is going to happen to them? No cows. What is going to happen? Let me say, okay, we'll give awareness of cow, we'll increase cow. People are not only in the social media it is good. On ground level, people are not bothered. They are interested in going to America and making money. Or they are coming to cities and making money. And that's all. All the people who are sitting in the cities, they may speak cow, cow, cow. And okay, you are so interested, go to village and stay. No, no, no. We have to be in city. I want to be in my apartment. I want to have my AC, everything. Nobody want to be in the because that is what is advertised. That is what is told as success. You need to be in a big working in a big corporate company, making lakhs of rupees in a month, have a luxurious apartment, and then you have your children. Once in a while, you can go and do some cow service. So this won't work like that. People speak India, this, that. That is just for speaking. Nothing is like that on the level of. There's some people who are genuinely doing, but they are very, very few. Nobody is. Now, only thing that is possible in Kali Yuga is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Just chant Hare Krishna. If you are really serious, you take retirement after 55, 60, take some land, go to a village, keep some cows and stay. But without doing it, don't speak. That is my point. Many people speak about cow. They make videos in YouTube and there are so many thousands of, sometimes millions of views on it. On ground level, they don't do anything. We ask them, okay, leave your job, take some land in the village and put some cows. How much they will do? Then why are you speaking? Don't speak. This is the point. So people speak about dharma, people speak about cow. They can write books on cow, but they don't do anything. Few people they are doing, at least. They may say, no, we are creating awareness, so somebody will do it. Yeah, only person who can do is government. If they are interested. So government, they will see whatever works for them to be in power. Nobody is interested there also. They are interested in power. Somebody is interested in power and they may not be interested in money, but everybody is interested in power at the top. From the top person, everybody is interested. We cannot say they are pure devotees, they are just doing for the pleasure of Krishna. It's not like that. Nobody is doing for pleasure of Krishna in the political field. Not possible. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to meet even King Prataparudra only. What to speak of other politicians that time. even though he's a pure devotee. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu want to tell? It does not. But of course, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, they met because Prabhupada also met because they wanted to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya. But they know these people, their heart won't change. It's so difficult. We were meeting one IAS officer recently, and she she's a big famous lady. Now she said, "Oh, I'm interested to come to the program." She's coming for Gaur Purnima and there's some festival she want to participate. But their mind got corrupted so much. It's so difficult for them to come out of the mentality that I am the doer. The pride remains for them. No question of spirituality. If they become humble and see that this person knows better than me, which they never feel, there is no question of spirituality. So this false ego is so much holding. This is the more they grow, now it is unfortunate situation for them. Politicians, all these IAS, IPS officers, they are they are actually, the disadvantage for them is their pride. They think prakrite kremanani gudai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. Because as long as they think they are the doer, and for them, people boost their false ego by always respecting them. They are kept in a very high position, and then they are respected so much, they are valued so much, and that is an unfortunate situation for them because that increases their doership mentality, their pride. All these celebrities or politicians or sports players, many of them have this problem. Very few people can take to Krishna consciousness because their false ego is boosted, not so safe. Like Bhakti Kasara says, his parents say, it's a disaster. My son got state first rank, all India first rank. Bhakti Kavasa is a disaster. Actually, why it is a disaster? Because it is increasing the pride of the person. That's why it is a disaster. So we'll see how the creation came now. Because whole creation is a disaster for us in one way that we are caught. Aham tatvad vikurvana mano aikarikadabhut वैकारिकाश्चये देवा अर्थाभिव्यञ्जनं यतः. The false ego is transformed into mind by the interaction with mode of goodness. All the, see, these are like energy forms, these subtle energies. We cannot understand them. What is goodness means we cannot explain what is goodness. We can explain, but what exactly is goodness? Is it an element? It's an energy. It's an energy like false ego. No, we cannot. We know false ego. We understand it, but we cannot explain how it looks and all. It's not possible because it's so subtle. What we can see and perceive and explain is gross only. We can explain. Say I can explain about mobile because it's very gross. The shape will be like this. The color will be like this. For me to explain, that should be in a gross level. In a subtle level, it is not possible to, because it is much more subtle than sound also. Some things which cannot be explained uh, in a gross level. So what's sound means what I am speaking. Of course, there is subtle level sound. At that level you can explain, but in a gross sound we cannot explain even subtle things because it is much more subtle than the voice that is coming. How can I explain that? Not possible. But we can understand at that level. Maybe in sound class we can discuss. So, propagating the false ego interacting with different modes of matter nature is the source of all materials in the phenomenal world. So, only thing you can understand is energy, that is goodness, passion. There are certain type of energies. तैजसानेन्द्रियाण्येव ज्ञानकर्ममया च. The senses are certainly products of mode of passion in false ego, and therefore philosophical speculative knowledge and fruitive activities are predominantly products of mode of passion. See, this is a nice point. So, because senses are product of passion, even philosophical speculation, because it happens at the level of manas. So manas, buddhi is also there, but still, sorry, at the level of buddhi, and buddhi is product of what? Passion. Manas is product of goodness. So, right? So, buddhi is passion. That's why mental speculation is passion. Even though it looks very sattvic, the people are very sattvic, looks like passion. And fruitive activities, we said this person is working very hard. This person is sitting and reading whole day, and that is also passion. The chief function of false ego is godliness, godlessness. False ego is godlessness. When a person forgets his constitutional position as an eternal subordinate part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead and wants to be happy independently, he functions mainly in two ways. He first attempts to act fruitively for personal gain or sense gratification, and after attempting such fruitive activities for a considerable time, when he is frustrated, he becomes a philosophical speculator and thinks himself to be on the level of God. This false idea of becoming one with Lord is the last snare of illusory energy which traps a living entity into the bondage of forgetfulness under the spell of false ego. So, first thing is he want to be happy independently. So he functions in two ways. What is the first thing? First attempt to act fruitively for personal gain or sense gratification. But after getting frustrated, what he start doing speculation. So both are in passion only. This is very interesting. And the best means of liberation from the clutches of false ego is to give up the habit of philosophical speculation regarding the absolute truth. So even speculation is also false ego. Don't speculate. Just read what Acharyas told. We should not give our own commentaries. If we read something, we should not give our, we can make some understanding of it, but we should not give our purpose. My understanding according to this is all speculation, this is all passion. The absolute truth that the personality of Godhead is realized hearing, by hearing in all submission and learn from a bona fide authority, one who is representative of the 12 great authorities mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's all. Don't speculate. Whatever is told by Acharyas, Mahajans, that's all. And what is the mood? Submission and love. So the submission comes because of humility. For such an attempt only can one conquer the illusory energy of Lord, although for others she is unsurpassable as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Daiviyesha Kudamai Mama Maya Tattaya. So it's very difficult. Tamaso Bhuta Sukshmadir Yatah Kama Lingamatmanaha. The sky is a product of sound. And sound is transformation of egoistic ignorance. So where did sound come from? It is coming from false ego in ignorance. So in other words, sky is a symbolic representation of super soul. So ego in ignorance comes sound. Now with the sound we cannot describe something more subtle. Means we will know that name, but we don't know what it is exactly, how it is. It is beyond our conception. The Vedic hymns it is said, Etasmat Atmana Akasha Sambhuta. The sky is a symbolic representative of super soul. Those who are egoistic in passion and ignorance cannot conceive the personality of Godhead. For them, the sky is represents super soul. Why it is representative? I don't know, because it is not very clear here. Why it is representation of because sky is product of sound. Sound is transformed egoism. That's all it is said. Kalamayam yogena bhagavad vikshitam nabha nabaso anushrutam sparsham vikurvan nirmatme anilam. Thereafter, the personality of Godhead glanced over the sky, partly mixed with eternal time and external energy, and thus the touch sensation developed, from which the air in the sky was produced. For all material creations takes place from subtle to gross. The entire universe has developed in that manner. From the sky developed the touch sensation, which is a mixture of eternal time, the, the external energy, and the glance of the personality of God. The entire universe are developed in the how? From sky developed touch sensation, which is a mixture of eternal time, external energy, and the glance of personality of God. The touch sensation developed into air in the sky. Similarly, all the other gross matters also developed from subtle to gross. Sun developed from into sky, touch developed into air, from form developed into fire, taste developed into water, smell developed into earth. So, this is very important to understand. From subtle comes gross, not gross to subtle. That means matter cannot create consciousness. Consciousness can create matter. This is a very important understanding where scientists make the mistake. For them, things come from gross to subtle. They say at one particular time, amino acids and all these uh, DNA and amino acids and what they say, they got mixed, and then suddenly consciousness appeared. But it is not possible like that. Very simple understanding. I don't know why it does not go into their head. Scientist, why cannot they understand such a simple thing? That subtle grass comes from subtle, and this is such a simple fact also. Anyway, that is they don't have that much pious credit to understand it. अनिलोऽपि विकुर्वाणो नभसो नभ सौरभलान्वितः ससर्जरूपतमस्तं तन्मात्रं ज्योतिर्लोकस्य लोचनम्. Thereafter, the extremely powerful air interacting with the sky generate the sun's perception of form, and the perception of form transformed into electricity, the light to see the world. I'm not taking, because we have heard this in the Krishna Chakra Thakur commentaries also. I'm not going detail in it. Maybe you should have an the chart is also made, so you can go through the chart. I will not take much on this. When electricity was surcharged in the air and was glanced over the Supreme Lord at the time by a mixture of eternal time, the external energy, there occurred the creation of water and taste. So every time there is a glance of Supreme Lord. Thereafter, water produced from electricity was glanced over by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and mixed with eternal time and external energy. Thus, the water was transformed into earth, which is qualified primarily by smell. A very important thing is these are not talking about the earth, water, fire, what we are seeing. It is not that. What is the elements that are created is, if you take a atom, small atom particle, then within that the space which is occupied is called the sky, and the movement of electron is because of air, and then the energy that electron controls is the fire, and the binding force in the electron which is holding the nucleus is water, and whatever the particle, that is earth. That means this is actually what is talked about. They are a subtle earth, water, fire, air, and ether. They are not gross, what we are seeing. This is the covering that covers the universe. Not that earth means there are so many cement. It is so much mud is there around the whole creation. With the mud, the creation is covered with mud, which is 10 times greater than that of what we are staying. And then there is some water is there after that, and then there is some fire is there, air is there. No, it's not like that. They are not like that. Means if you take a water molecule has some water atoms, hydrogen and oxygen. And water molecule has two, hydrogen and oxygen, so atoms. So these atoms have all these five elements. Hydrogen atom you take, all these five elements are there in it. So all this, if you take the periodic table, whatever atoms you know, and all these atoms have these five elements, and they form all this creation. Whatever we are seeing, gross elements. You are understanding the difference. Don't think it's something very gross. It's subtle only. We cannot even perceive them. O gentle one, of all the physical elements, beginning from the sky down to earth, all the inferior and superior qualities are due only to the final touch of the glance of Supreme Personality. So far as this is the most important slogan because Bhutanam Naba Adinam Yad Yad Bhava Vara Varam Tesham Paranu Samsargad Yata Sankyam Gunan. It is just because of the glance, whatever from beginning sky to earth. All the inferior and superior qualities are only due to the final touch. Lord's glance is actually what matters because Lord's glance is that energy that is given to the material nature. From the description of the physical elements in the above verse, it is clear that in all stages the glance of Supreme is needed with the other additions and alterations. In every transformation, the last finishing touch is the glance of the Lord, who acts as a painter, does not when he mixes different colors to transform them into particular color. Another important Lord, like painter example is given. Painter is not in the painting; he's outside. He can convert, he can change whatever. Purpose when one element mixes with another, the number of its qualities increases. For example, the sky is the cause of air. The sky has only one quality, namely sound. But by the interaction of sky with the glance of Lord, mixed with eternal time and external nature, the air is produced, which has two qualities, sound and touch. Similarly, after this air is created, the interaction of sky and air, touched by time and the external energy of the Lord, produce electricity. And after that means Lord is making that element more and more powerful. After the interactions of the electricity with fire and sky mixed with time, the external energy, and the Lord's glance over them, water is produced. In the final stage of sky, there is one quality, namely sound in air, and there are two qualities, sound and touch. And in electricity, there are three qualities, namely sound, touch, and form. In water, there are four, namely sound, touch, form, and taste. And in the last stage of physical development, the result is earth, which has five qualities, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Although there are different mixtures of different materials, such uh, mixture do not takes place automatically, just as mixture of color does not takes place automatically without the touch of the living painter. The automatic system is factually activated by the glancing touch of the Lord. Living consciousness is the final word in all physical changes. This fact is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Maya Dikshena Prakriti Suete Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kaunte Jagat So the main criteria is because Lord is interfering. So the conclusion is that although the physical elements may work very wonderfully to the layman's eyes, their working actually takes place under the supervision of Lord. Those who can mark only the changes of physical elements and cannot perceive the hidden hands of the Lord behind them are certainly less intelligent persons, although they may be advertised as great material scientists. So they are all less intelligent. Prabhupada is clear. एते देवा कालविष्णो कालमायांस लिङ्गिनः नानात्वात्स कृष्णासि प्रोच्च प्रज्ञालयो विभुम्. The controlling deities of all the above mentioned physical elements are empowered expansions of Lord Vishnu. They are embodied by eternal time under the external energy, and they are his part and parcels because they are interested in different functions of universal duties but were unable to perform them. They offer fascinating praise to Lord as follows. So they are praying to the Lord to be empowered. They are all part and parcels of the Lord. This is in the beginning of creation, not the demigods who are in the heaven now. These are the predominating deities of the elements creation. Like false ego, it's Lord Shiva. Like that. The conception of various controlling demigods who inhabit the higher planet system for the management of universes is not imaginary, as proposed by persons with a poor fund of knowledge. The demigods are expanded parcels of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, and they are embodied by time, the external energy, and partial consciousness of Supreme. What all things demigod have? Their expansions. They are embodied by time, the external energy, and partial consciousness of Supreme. So these are all things are there. Human beings, animals, birds, etc. are also part and parcel of Lord and have different material bodies, but they are not the controlling deities of material levels. They are rather controlled by such demigods. Such control is not superfluous. It is as necessary as the controlling department in the affairs of a modern state. The demigod should not despair by the controlling living beings. They are all great devotees of Lord, interested to execute certain functions of universal affairs. One may be angry with Yamaraj for his thankless task of punishing sinful souls, but Yamaraj is one of the authorized devotees of the Lord, and so are the other demigods. Devotee of Lord is never controlled by such deputed demigods, whose function is assistants of the Lord, but he shows them all respects on account of the responsible positions to which they have been appointed by the Lord. At the same time, a demigod of Lord does not foolishly mistake themselves to be the supreme Lord. Only foolish persons accept the demigods as being on the same level as Vishnu. Actually, they are all appointed as servants of Vishnu. So the point here is important is uh, to understand the position of the demigods. Of course, here the demigods they are born to Aditi and some are born to other great sages and all. Now they are born here, which are mentioned. This is the Shani, Rahu, Ketu and all, and Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu. But these demigods are the beginning of creation. They are predominating deities of the elements. Both are demigods only. Both are like they are empowered by Supreme. Anyone who places the Lord and demigod in the same is called Pashanyanithis. The demigods are worshipped by persons who are more or less adherent to the process of jnana, yoga, and karma, that is, the impersonalists, meditators, and fruit workers. The devotees, however, worship only the Supreme Lord Vishnu. This worship is not for any material benefit as desired by all the materialistics, even up to the salvation mystics and fruit workers. Devotees worship the Supreme Lord to attain unalloyed devotion to the Lord. So this is what we clearly tell. We want only unalloyed. The Lord, however, is not worshipped by others who have no program for attaining love of God, which is eternal aim of human life. Persons averse to the loving relationship with God are more or less condemned by their own actions. The Lord is equal to every living entity, just like the flowing Ganges. The Ganges water is meant for the purification of everyone, yet the trees on the banks of Ganges have a different value. A mango tree on the bank of Ganges drinks the water, and the Nimba tree also drinks the same water, but the fruits of this tree are different. One is celestially sweet, and the other is hellishly bitter. Thus, the condemned bitterness of the Nimba is due to its own past work, just as the sweetness of mango is due to its own karma. So, Tvam Aham Vishatapura Samsareshu Naradama Shubhama Jasrama Shubhama Surishevyanishu. So, here this is explained. Those who are envious miscreants. So, those who are envious miscreants, who are lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of mental existence, into various demonic species of life. So this is what Lord is telling. And then now from here onwards, the prayer starts of the demigods. So thank you all very much. We'll continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Tomorrow also Prabhuji is traveling. He will not be able to take tomorrow's session. So we'll only have perfect reading. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.